guys? Hey, I know this is not a motorcycle. No, I typically do motorcycle stuff. The motorcycle stuff hasn't ended. I moved from Washington recently to Alaska, and moved right before summer. And I just wanted to enjoy the summer in Alaska, the short, very, very short summer in Alaska, and not spend all my time in my garage. So the motorcycle stuff is still going on. I'll probably start working on that here in the next few weeks and start posting up more videos. In the meantime, I'm going to be doing a heater core in my Jeep. So a little bit about this Jeep. This is Steve, my $500 Jeep that I bought from a crackhead. More than likely a crackhead. I don't know exactly what the story was, but the inside of this thing was all torn apart. It had different wheels on it. The ignition was drilled out. I'm pretty sure it was stolen a couple times maybe. It's just a mess. So I picked it up for real cheap and just kind of as a wheeler and did some stuff to it. It's on 35s now. A couple of things, nothing special, but it's fun. I enjoy it. And I've recently been driving it on the road a little more, and especially being up here in Alaska, a lot of snow, and it gets really cold, and I wanted something four-wheel drive that I could just kind of putz around. And this does it really well. I actually really enjoy this thing. I've always been more of a Toyota guy, but this old Jeep hasn't let me down. Just kind of continues to impress me. Now, the problem is that it gets really cold here. I'm in Fairbanks, Alaska. If you don't know anything about Fairbanks, minus 65, minus 70, that happens here. So I need a good heater. My heater does not work, so we're going to put a new heater core in this old Jeep today. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is, first of all, disconnect the battery, because we're going to be disconnecting all of our electrical components inside the dash here. For simplicity, I'm going to remove probably the whole dash. I guess we'll see how it goes. Might do a little bit less. The kick panels are going to need to come out as well, so you can get to the bolts that are holding this main support for the dash in place. It's just some Phillips screws in here. Mine is especially easy to take apart because I have very few screws. Right. Now you got access to all that business. Looks like a couple 15s to me. And it is. So here is the bolt that is holding on either side. There's one that holds, it's the main support for your console. It's a 15 millimeter, and then up here on the base of the steering column you have the two bolts that are holding the steering column up. You need to take all of these out so you can get better access. All right, now we've got the lower portion of the dash out, so we're going to start disconnecting things here. So this is the plug for the heater motor. It's a resistor in there, so you need to remove that. You got a vacuum line here you're going to want to disconnect. Just pull it right off. You got some other stuff up here that we're going to want to disconnect as well. Give it a little tug. Try not to break anything. We might just take that out. Then you got this little guy right here that goes to this harness. It's just taped on there. You can either pull it off, or I think I'm gonna cut the tape off of that. No, I'm just gonna pull it. There we go. See? Now when you put it back on, you're just gonna pop that off, tape back on, and push it back in. Okay, so we got that loose, Now, you can either take this off. This is what controls whether you're flowing hot air or cold air, this cable here. I'm just gonna leave that on there because I got a lot of wiggle room in here and it can just hang out. You can either do that, you can disconnect it from down here, or you can take out your control here and disconnect it from the back of that, which would probably be easiest. We'll see if we need to do that either way. Now what I'm gonna do is I got a bolt here to take out, bolt here to take out. Let's see, one over here and one right here, and I think there's another one. We got the screws out of the air box inside. So now what we gotta do is remove the fan motor. So this guy right here, you're on the passenger side against the firewall. Do that, we're just gonna unplug the harness. Here's that. And then we have a bolt here, a bolt here. I think there's another one right there, right here. So we're gonna undo these guys and see if we got it loose. I've run into, which you might not be able to see, is these have been in here so long they're kind of rusted. Maybe able to tell here, as I spin it, the whole thing spins. So what I've done is I've sprayed it down with some PB Blast, hoping that that would fix it. It still spins, so what I'm just gonna do is take a pair of pliers and try to hold on to it. Let's see if that can get it off. Okay, so I got the blower out. I got those 4 screws out. So now it's looking like I got to take all this AC stuff off, which I already have some of it cut. And this is because I'm not using my AC. My AC is going to be turned into onboard air. So I'm going to move this out of my way here, best I can, and start hacking at getting this stuff off here. Alright, we've got all of the hardware free. Problem is I don't have enough clay to get this out. It wants to come out, there's just not enough room. So what I had to do was remove the top piece of trim on the dash. There's a screw here, and then there's 3 along the top up here. Not very fun to get out, but it had to come out. So what I'm going to do now is you got holding the top part of the dash up is a bunch of 8mm, which I'm going to remove so I can get the dash free and try to get the vents out. Alright, so got all these out. Dash is extremely loose, and this little guy just kind of fell out. So now what we're gonna do is go through and find all the loose ends that are still hanging on and disconnect those so we don't run into any issues with that. Like this vacuum line, gonna want to undo that. Now we got a little more access in here too. We can move the dash around. This harness seems to be a little hung up in here as well. So we're just gonna kind of go through and maybe we can get a better grip on this thing now and get it off. Kind of hard to do with one hand. So I need to get that off. There's some harnesses up here that are tied off in there. Kind of hard to see that yellow and blue and black down there that's hooked up to it. So I'm just gonna go through and disconnect all that stuff, and I'll be back in a moment. So I disconnected the heater control cable from the actual controller itself. It's a lot easier to do it up there than disconnecting that, because it's got this little tab that just slides into the back side here and there. All you do is just take a screwdriver, push the tab down, and it just slides right out, and then you just yard it out. So now this bad boy is ready to come out. Alright guys, so everything is out. There's where your fan goes, and that right there is what we're going after. There's the heater core. So looks like we got a little 7 or 8mm there. We got to get that off. Then we got to disconnect the hoses. Alright, so everything's out. Now it's time to get these heater hoses off. Got a catch pan underneath because we're obviously going to lose some coolant here. Hopefully not too much, but some is definitely going to come out. Could be a bear to get off. They're gonna be, of course. And whoever put this one on is not a very nice person. But we're gonna get it. Anyway. So these are probably gonna be just a blast coming off here. Alright, so I got both the hoses off of the heater core. We're gonna do a couple things. I'm gonna replace a lot of the hoses, and I'm gonna flush my engine again. So what was happening is this top one is the inlet and the bottom one is the outlet. And the heater core was so plugged up that it wasn't allowing anything to flow through it, and it was gumming up really bad. This is after I already took a bunch of stuff out of there. So at least that was stopping it, because the bottom one I didn't really have a whole lot come out. Heater core. Ready? Wait for it. Wait for it. Just goo. core is installed. That doesn't mean it's done, it's just installed. So at this point, I've got a little bit of wiring stuff to fix up in that area. I'm gonna do that, address some vacuum issues that I have in here as well, and then I'm gonna come back over here and flush some of these lines out, clean everything out as best as I can, and tomorrow morning I will go get new hoses, or a couple new hoses. Hey guys, so we got the heater core out and a couple other things in there that I needed to address, like some wiring stuff and things like that. So the video was getting a little long, so I decided I was going to split it up into two different videos. There'll be a part 1 and a part 2. Now, I did lose some of my video for the part 2, but I'll explain that and the stuff that was missed in that second part. So, hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do, like, share, subscribe, do your thing. Thanks, guys.